Hello, my name's Christopher, and today I'm going to show you how to install Coolify on CasaOS using BigBearClub, a third-party app store. So, a little bit about this series, I'm going over Homelab, so installing things, getting things set up, everything like that. So, if you're interested in that, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel, and let's get started. I wanted to let y'all know about the Big Bear community. We just launched a community on community.bigbeartechworld.com. It's based on discourse, so go on there, join it, and say hi. So let's get back to your registered programming. So this is what I'll be installing today on CasaOS. It's called Coolify. It makes it to where it's an open source and self-hostable Heroku, Netlify, and versatile alternative. It's a really cool project, and I've been using it for quite a while, and it works really good. So this is what I'll be installing on CasaOS. So I'm going to start on BigBearClub, and there will be linked on the YouTube description to get to this. And I'm going to go over the search and type Coolify, and then now apps Coolify, and then I'm going to go in the Docker Compose right here. So I'm going to click it. So now the CasaOS app name is called BigBearClub. I'm going to set some services, and then the first service underneath the services is called BigBearClub. And this is just a namespace, is Big Bear. So the container name is called BigBearClub, and this is so Docker doesn't have to generate a random name. And then the image is coming off of GitHub, and then this is the Docker image, and this is the Docker image tag. So now the container restart policy is set to unless stop. So that means if you stop it for any reason, it will not try to restart. But if it fails for any other reason, then it'll try to restart. And then I'm going to set some environment variables down here. And then the volumes, the left side is the host and the right side is the container. Do not change the right side. So ports, so the UI is 8,000 to get to the dashboard for Coolify. And then on the container is 80. Do not change the containers port. And then now the health check right here to decide when the Docker image is up and running, the Docker container. So this does depend on the BigBearClub Postgres and the BigBearClub Redis services down below to be up and running and service is healthy. And then now networks, so BigBearClub network, I'm going to put it in there so we can easily use the service names to connect the databases up. So instead of using the CasaOS IP address, we can just use the service name. And then now CasaOS information to explain all the environment variables and the volumes down here. And then now we're in the next service underneath the services, and that's called BigBearClub Postgres. And then the container name is going to be called BigBearClub Postgres, and that's so Docker doesn't have to generate a random name. The image is coming off of Docker by default because there's no year before this. This is the Docker image. This is the Docker image tag. And then now ports are 5432. That's on the host side, and then on the container side it's 5432. And then now volumes, so data, app data, dynamic variable, which gotten from the name up here, BigBearClub. So now PG data, and then this is on the host side, and then on the container side, the environment variables, the health check, and then networks. We're going to put it in the same network. And then the CasaOS information to explain the environment variables plus the volumes. Now we're in the next service, and that's BigBearClub Redis. And then the container name, and then the image is coming off of Docker Hub. And this is the Docker image. This is the Docker image tag. And then the ports are 6379 is on the host, and then on the container. And then now the command to start the Redis server, the environment variables, which I'm going to put the Redis password. And if you look up in the environment variables up here, the Redis host right here and the Redis password. And then also the Postgres service is now connecting to here. This is a Laravel app, so if you use Laravel, this should be pretty familiar. So now I'm going to scroll back down to the Redis and put in the same network the CasaOS information to explain the environment variables plus the volumes. And then now BigBearClub sockety, and this is so the Coolify can use web sockets. So now container name is BigBearClub sockety, and then the image is coming off of Quay, and then this is the Docker image. This is the Docker image tag. So ports are 6001 is on the host side, and then on the container side, same 6002, 6002. The environment variables, and then the health check down here, the network, and then the CasaOS information. Now we're going to define the networks. So BigBearClub network, name, driver is bridge. And then now the Coolify network, which is set to external. So we'll need to create that, and that will be created inside of the BigBearScript. So now the CasaOS information to explain the app to the App Store. So the architecture that the Docker image supports, and that's up here, right here. And the main service is BigBearClub, and that's that first service up there. And then the description, the tagline, the developer of the app, and then the author of this Docker Compose, the icon, thumbnail, the title, the category, so people can quickly switch between CasaOS and find all the apps that are available in CasaOS. So the port map is 8000, and that's rhymes with this port up here, the 8000. And then the tips down here. So when you click the install in the CasaOS App Store, it will come up here and give a model box, and then it'll say you can go read the docs right here. So that's a little bit about the Docker Compose. So Coolify uses traffic for the proxy, and it will be listening on port 80. So we will need to change our CasaOS port from 80 to like 81. So I'm going to go up here to settings, and then the web UI port change. Now I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to change this to 81. And then now I'm going to submit. And now you will need to go up here to your URL, and you're going to need to put the 81 port here. And now we're going to go to it, and we have successfully changed the CasaOS web port. So now I'm going to start on my CasaOS, and I'm going to go to App Store, and then I'm going to search for Coolify. And then now you see right here, and you know it's coming from BigBearClub because of the category down here. So I'm going to click it, and then I'm going to press install. Now this is the model box that I said was going to come up. So you can go here and you can read. I'm going to say next steps. So now what this is doing is it's downloading the Docker image off the registry, getting them extracted, getting them up with Docker Compose underneath because it is using the Docker engine. It's also setting up the networks, the volumes, and things like that. So I'm going to continue in the background, and this could take a little bit to complete. So now we got it up and running, and it's good to go. So now that we have it up and running, we're going to need to go into the app settings right here, and then we're going to need to scroll down, and we're going to need to change the CasaOS IP right here. So I'm going to get my IP address, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to paste it in. So now that should be the only spot. And now I'm going to press save. It's going to reload the container and get that environment variable set up. So now if you see this to where it's not highlighted, That's because we haven't completed the full installation yet. But if you go into Dozzle right here, you go to Coolify, you should get these, the address info not found right here, and the name or service not known. We'll get that fixed, so it's not completely up yet. So I'm going to go backwards. So we got the environment variable changed. So I wanted to let you know about the Big Bear Club. You can join it, and it greatly supports this channel, and I very much appreciate it. So if you'd like to join the Big Bear Club, you can go down the YouTube description and go to my Ko-Fi link and join it from there. So let's get back to registered programming. So now we're going to start on BigBearScripts, and there will be linked on YouTube description to get to this. And I'm going to go to the search and type CasaOS setup Coolify right here. So I'm going to go in the run.sh. So now this is the script that we are going to use to set up the SSH key, and then at the end you will be able to see the actual the private key here. So it's going to hide out the private key for you if you allow it up here. But so it's going to detect the operating system, and then it's going to set up the install SSH, because it's going to install it on these operating systems. And this does follow the documentation in Coolify. So now it's going to configure the SSH. So it's going to back up the original SSHD config. Then it's going to ask the user what they'd like to put in the permit or root login. So you can put yes without password or prohibit password. And then now it's going to come down here, and if the user picked 1, 2, 3, or the prohibit password is the default. So now it's going to update only the required SSH settings in the SSHD config. So it's going to update the permit root login, and then it's going to update the pub key authentication. Then it's going to make sure the data, Coolify, SSH keys directories are there. And then it's going to make the home and then .sh directory. Then it's going to generate the SSH key pair, which down here. Then it's going to set the ownership, and then it's going to cat out the public key to the .sh authorized keys right here. Then it's going to set the mod to 600 on the authorized keys. Then it's going to set the 700 on the .sh. And then it's going to restart the SSH service right here. So it's going to restart it, and then it's going to enable it. Now, I do have a separate function for clearing the cache, so it's going to use a Docker X, and then BigBear Coolify. It's going to go in the service, and then BigBear Artisan Optimize, and then now this is the main execution. So it's going to create the Docker network. Create Coolify. It's going to create that network, because if you remember when I was explaining the Docker Compose, it had a external network, and this is where we're going to create it. And then we're going to install the SSH server right here, configure the SSH, and then we're going to echo it down here. So it's going to echo out the SSH status. Then it's going to say setup is complete. Your SSH key is located at this right here. And then it's also going to ask the user if they would like to display the private key inside of the terminal. You can do that this if you like. Just press yes, and then it'll say cat, and then I'll cat it out. So this does have a menu with it. So it's going to put the menu options first. So the first menu option is to run the main script, and then the second is to clear the cache. So this is where it runs the menu function right there. So that's a little bit about the BigBearScript that sets up Coolify. So now when we're on the BigBearScripts, we're going to go back to the README, and then we're going to copy this, and then we're going to SSH into our CasaOS server and run it. So now I'm SSH'd into my CasaOS server, and I'm going to paste in the script, and then I'm going to run it with return or enter. So now we have two options, so we can pick one or two. I'm going to pick one. So now it's installing the SSH server, getting everything set up for you. And now you have option to select yes without password or prohibit password. So I'm going to go with option 3. And then now it's also showing you that the SSH is set up, and it also created a SSH key. Now I'm not going to show my private key that it created down here, but you can by pushing the Y, and then you can go ahead and return or enter, and then it will show you your private key. But so now I'm going to press Y and then show my private key, and then copy and paste it over into Coolify. So now make sure you have that private key for later. So I'm going to go ahead and SSH back into my server, and I'm going to paste in the script, the same script, the setup a Coolify script. And then now I'm going to return or enter. So now I'm going to go with option 2 right here. So now it's going to clear the Coolify cache, which this is using Laravel, so it's going to run optimize. So now it's good to go, and the config is all updated. So now I'm going to go over where your files are located. So if we start on CasaOS, we're going to go into the Files app, and then App Data, BigBearClub, and now you see all the files for BigBearClub in it. So you can also check mark them all. You can download, copy, cut, delete, and cancel. You can also go up here to the top right and download, copy path, rename, cut, copy, share, and then delete. So if you want to find your keys that you generated, you can go over root and then data right here, Coolify, SSH, keys, and now you see your public and your private key. So that's where your files are located. So now if you start on your CasaOS, you're going to go up to the vertical dots right here. You can open into the web UI. You can set some tips. So this is like a notepad. So you can come down here and say testing, and then press the save button. It'll reload the container. And then you can refresh the page. So you can go back into tips, and you can see it did save. You can come over here and go to settings, and you can change the settings over here. And then you can see your services right here, so you can go to each one. You can also export the Docker Compose right here. You can save down here, so you can exit out of here. You can also, once the container is up and running again, after that the tips got saved, you can come up here to terminal logs, go into it, and you're inside of the container now. You can also see the logs. This is great for debugging. You can exit out of here, and you can check for updates from BigBearClub right here. You can uninstall, restart, and power off and on. So now make sure you have that private key for later. So I'm going to go ahead and SSH back into my server, and I'm going to paste in the script, the same script, the setup a Coolify script. And then now I'm going to return or enter. So now I'm going to go with option 2 right here. So now it's going to clear the Coolify cache, which this is using Laravel, so it's going to run optimize. So now it's good to go, and the config is all updated. So now I'm going to go to the UI and get it set up. So you can open in the web UI from here, or you can also click on the icon. So now I'm going to create an account, and then an email address, and then a password. Now once you do that, you're going to go ahead and register. So now we're going to skip the onboarding, and now we're going to go ahead and you can disable this pop-up. So now we're going to go ahead and go to servers. You can see that localhost is not reachable. So we're going to go into the server, and now we're going to change this to our server's IP address. Okay, now once we've done that, we're going to save, and then save. And then now we're going to go over to our private key right here, and we're going to add, and we're going to name this local. And then we're going to need to copy that private key wherever you have it, and we're going to need to paste it into here. I'm going to stop it right here, paste in my private key, and then I'm going to press continue. So now all I done was I pasted in my private key and then clicked continue, and then now you should be on this screen right here. So I'm going to go back to servers and then localhost, and then now I'm going to save, and then now I'm going to go ahead and go in this private key right here, use key. So now it's using this key right here. So I'm going to go back to general, and then I'm going to press refresh up here. And then now you should see Proxy running. So this is a good sign, and it's up and running. So now we got everything up and running, and the proxy is running right here. So if you see this upgrade button right here, if you click it, do not update with this option. Wait till BigBearCosOS updates, and then you'll be able to update it through CasaOS. So now I'm in my Coolify, and I'm going to go ahead and add my first project. So I'm going to add, and then I'm going to name this testing project, and then continue. And then now it automatically added an environment for production. So I'm going to go with that. And you can come up here and you can create/edit. You can also clone and then delete the environment. I'm going to go into add resource, and then I'm going to say Dozzle. Click it, and then now it's exited, but I'm going to have to go ahead and go to the edit compose file right here, and I need to add a port in. So we're going to go to 8081 on the IP address, and then on the container is 8080. So if you want to change this, change the left, don't change the right. And then now I'm going to save, and then it saved the Docker compose file. So you should be good to go on deploying it. What this is doing is it's downloading the Docker image off the registry and then getting it up. So I'm going to X out of here, and then configuration. If you go into logs right here, refresh, you can see it is up, but it takes a little bit to come up and running. So now I'm going to go over to the IP address with 8081 and then 8081, and then now it's up and running, and it's running on Coolify. So I just went over step by step on getting Coolify running on CasaOS using BigBearCosOS, the third-party app store. So if you like this tutorial, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel. And if you have any video sessions or need community support, you can go down to the Big Bear community and join our forum. There's a link in the YouTube description. So stay tuned for more.